Hello, good morning. How's everyone doing? I just wanted to jump on here and do a quick look since it's kind of been a while since I've done anything. So far, I have only done my skincare. I kind of have, some troublesome spots and then my typical redness, but I did try the Drunk Elephant baby facial for the first time last night. And I'm hoping that with extended use, I will be able to see some difference. This is kind of a dry spot here that I've got. I'm going to use the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre to set my base. Alright, so you want to make sure you just have a nice base, that there's no creasing. And today I am going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. I'm going to go in with this fresh color here to set my base, and I'm just going to take this Alamar brush here. It's got that nice it's got a nice size, so I can cover, more area, and it's nice and, not too packed, not too loose. So this is the kind of brush that I use just to set, again, my base. And once you set it, so for me this kind of acts as that brow highlight, especially this color, but also it helps so that your other colors don't stick to the base. Honestly, I applied too much here because I kept forgetting what I was going to say or what I was trying to say. But yeah, you just kind of want to go through and just make sure, that your base is set. You don't always have to set your base, but this is how I like to do it when I'm using this palette. Now that I have my base set, I'm going to go in and I am going to use Blue as my first color. I'm going to try to keep it kind of, how should I say? I'm going to try to have a pop of color, even though I'm going to end up doing kind of a smoky eye. I'm going to go in with the Morphe JH32. I would have liked something a little bit bigger, but I didn't wash anything bigger, so this is fine. The reason that I would have liked a bigger brush is this is probably going to pack on more pigment than I may have wanted to start with, but that's okay. We'll just have to make sure that we blend it out. So I start in the middle of my crease because I tend to have a spot there right here, where I don't know if the shadows just don't pick up well, or if it's just the way that I apply them. I don't apply them properly there, but I usually have to really pay attention to not have that kind of void here, or it'll kind of dip. I think it's just the way that, my eyelids are, the way that my eye opens. If you can see, I've got more space here and then it kind of droops down. So to avoid that, and to avoid having to go back and fill it in, I try to start from the center and then work my way to the sides. And that way I know that I have that space covered. It's not a big deal if you have to go back and add color to that area, but sometimes, if you're not paying attention or you're running late, you don't want to have to go back and fill in a spot. See, perfect. I love that color. Such a pretty color. All right. So now I'm going to go in with just a little more and kind of build up that color. I'm going to apply darker color, I'll show you guys in a second, just to the V and then bring it in. So for that, I want a smaller brush for sure, but I want a brush that's going to be able to pick up color and also blend with it. What you could do is you can have a more dense brush and pack on the color and then take a different brush and blend it in, but I'm just going to go ahead and use one brush for that. The brush that I'm going to use for that is the JH35. So you can see here, it's a little bit smaller than that first brush I used. Here's comparing the two. So it's got shorter bristles and it's packed a little bit tighter, but same thing, right? It's got that looseness. So I'm going to go in with Dystopian. And apply that to the outer corner. I like to get my brush nice and covered in pigment, just to also make sure that I'm not causing any kind of patchiness. So I'll go in and I tap off the extra. But I'll go in and I start this lower corner here. And just bring it in. And then just make sure that I keep that rounded shape in my crease as I bring it in. So you can see how that first shade really helped us in keeping this a little bright, a little colorful, even though we're going in with this dark brown shade. So you can see I'm not picking up too much product, right? Because if I were picking up more product, there would be more to spread into the crease, but that's okay because we can go ahead and build it up. It's always easier to build up than to take away. I personally have this spot right here too. I don't know if it's I don't have it here, the way that my skin folds, but I do have to pay more attention to that area as well to get rid of that patchiness, you know, or those wrinkles that get emphasized, I guess. Now I just want to make sure that the shapes are the same or the same enough, right? And I would like to build up this brown a little bit more. So now I'm just going to tap it. And I'm not going to blend any of it. Just again. Alright. So I might, I'm going to bring it in a little bit more, but with no additional product, just what I used to tap out the corner. The reason for that is so that I can add my shimmer or metallic and have that transition area there. So a neat little trick I recently learned, and I can't remember who I picked it up from, is that I'm using this NYX glitter primer so that the metallic shades will have something to really grip onto, and this way I haven't been having to wet my brush. And I've noticed that the metallics, regardless of what I'm using, do tend to stick on more. You just have to be careful because this is kind of like a glue, so you know you'll feel it. You want to make sure that you cover it with product so that you're not feeling that stickiness throughout the day. It has definitely happened to me where I realize, where maybe I didn't apply enough of the shadow, or I went too high with the primer, and I definitely feel it throughout the day. I can feel my lids kind of sticking to each other. Even now, like, let's see if we can see it. See? Alright, so I'm trying to decide what color to go in with now. It's kind of between, so here's Amber, Rose Quartz, Steampunk, that's a pretty color, Teak, and there's also Cider. So those all look really pretty. Because we have that pink in the crease, really all of those are options, but I'm really liking Ember. So I'm going to go in with Ember, but to kind of break some more lightness out, I'm going to put Steampunk right there. And then, so Steampunk on one finger, Ember on the other. You can use your brush as well. I like to go in first with my fingers to set down the initial color. So again, Ember in the center, and then I guess I could use my other hand, and then Steampunk. And again, we're gonna go in with some more Ember. I don't want too much of that Steampunk taking up or taking away from the Ember. Alright, so now that we have it set down, I'm going to go back in with the brush I use with Dystopian, and I'm not going to add anything. I'm just going to blend it in here a little bit. Just a tiny bit, barely touching my skin. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I think this will work. Alright, I'm going to take this flat shader brush, so you can see it's much thinner, so it's more dense. You can pack on color with this. This is the JH51, and I am going to pick up some of that Steampunk and just go at my crease, so I can create that nice line there, if that's what you want. So you see, I didn't cut my crease, but I still created that look. And then on the other side of the same brush, I'm going to give it Ember, and same thing. Go into my crease and pat it in. Now, as I'm doing this, I see the areas where I brought Dystopian in too much that I don't want it there. So I'm just going to take a Q-tip and just gently wipe off the color. And here you can kind of see I definitely have shadow more towards the inside than on this side. You don't see that pink, so that's okay too. I'll go ahead and just wipe that off, or we'll go ahead and just Q-tip that off. And then I'm going to go in now with the same brush that I used for Bloom. Nothing on it, and didn't pick, well, there's something on it. I didn't pick up any additional product. And I'm just going to go on the edges there. Again, barely touching, just to make sure that Bloom and Dystopian are well blended in to each other. And even here, you know, I can kind of take advantage and try to bring in Bloom a little bit more if I want it to match here, or to kind of fix where I may have rubbed off some of the base, right? So now it's bare skin versus the base, but there's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my makeup. All right, and now to do the face. For my primer, I'm going to go in with the Tatcha Silk Luminous Primer, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this. Oh man, I hope I don't have eyeshadow left on my fingers. It's the downside of doing your makeup with your fingers, right? And I'm just going to use it for these areas here. These are kind of my problem pore areas. And then I'm going to go in with a hydrating primer for the rest of my face because I do tend to be dry in this area. So for the hydrating primer, I'm going to use the JOAH Instant Primer Activator Hydrating and Brightening Primer. And I'm just going to use a bit of that on the rest of my face. Let's kind of pat it in to get the primers into my pores. I just noticed that there wasn't very much fallout with those metallic colors, so that's nice, that's good. And now, alright, I'm going to go in with my Tatcha Pearl, and this is, if I remember correctly, it is an under eye treatment, but as you can see, it has color. And the way that I like to use this best is I will apply it at my under eyes and I let it sit. So I let it kind of dry up a little bit, and then once it dries I will spread it and pat it in, and it kind of acts as a base to my concealer. Is there the CYO foundation, and I'm currently mixing two of them. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see kind of this a little more yellow, so I like to mix it with this one, which is a little more peachy. And I normally have a little thing here that I use to and then mix it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and go straight onto the face. I don't normally do these with these guys on here, so I'm careful not to get it on them. So I'm just gonna go in and just kind of like, oh, see here, you can really see the difference there. So you can really see the tone difference there, right? Anyway, so I'm going to take the Tati Beauty, I'm going to take this thing by Tati Beauty. What is this called? Is that a beauty blender? No, the beauty blender is a sponge, right? What is this? Oh, whatever. Anyway, so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to spread it out. Alright, so I'm just going to take this Tati Beauty thing and spread out the foundation. And I do a combination of swiping the foundation and patting the foundation. It's kind of depending on my areas and how the foundation is looking. In my T-zone, I know that I have larger pores, so I will pat it in there to make sure that I get the foundation in those pores nicely. I'm going to take off. Alright, so now taking the same corner, I'm going to go ahead and blend in that Tatcha. Alright, now you can go ahead and leave it like this and just finish up your makeup. But for me, I know that my under eyes are going to get darker throughout the day, so I do go in with another concealer, or a concealer, and this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. And I just kind of put that there. The reason I do it above my lip is because, same thing, really. I know it's going to get dark in that area throughout the day. So I add that concealer, which is thicker than the foundation and will last longer, and will help keep that darkness from peeking through, showing through. I guess it depends on how much darkness it is. Alright. Now, as you guys can see, my beauty blender is dirty. What I've been doing recently is I've only been using it for cream products and only for foundation, and I kind of just use a corner at a time, so I can get a couple uses out of that. Now I'm going to take the Morphe JH07. To me, it's a setting brush. I don't know what it was really meant for, but that's what I use it for. I use it to set my under eye. I always have to be careful because when I set my under eye, I tend to scrunch my forehead, and then I get the Grand Canyon on my face. So just kind of, pick up. I'm using the Laura Mercier in Translucent, and I like this one because of that, kind of pinched shape at the end. I can really get into that area right there. Now I'm going to go in, kind of just make sure that the foundation hasn't settled into and then I'm going to do my chin too, because those areas tend to get, maybe my upper lip. And these are just the areas that tend to get oily. Alright. So now that that's done, you can see how that's looking. And now I'm going to set the rest of my face, because that's what I've always done. I've never not set my face, and I'm too paranoid to go without it. I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild loose setting powder in Banana. And this has honestly been my favorite loose setting powder for both my face and my under eye, to be honest. I also have it in Translucent, and it just gives such a nice finish without making you look powdery, and it really keeps my makeup on, with wearing masks and everything. One, I'd like to try to keep my mask as clean as possible, but also I don't want to have weird, areas where my foundation rubbed off that are visible. I am going to go in with a bronzer, and I did pick up the new Hourglass holiday release. I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about kind of how dewy or how shimmery this all looked. I guess shimmery is the right word, but look, we're going to see. This is actually really, really pretty, and it doesn't leave that weird shimmer or like overly glittery, or I don't know. I guess on me it's almost a sweaty look. It's just so pretty. in trying to figure out how I was going to describe what I was trying to say, I dipped into the powder a few too many times before applying it to my face. But it's okay because we're just going to buff it out. And it may be showing up a little bit darker than it looks in real life. My poor brood, I have my hair up in a clip. So see, it's just so pretty. Again, no like excessive shimmer, no shine, none of that. And if you like that and if you have the skin for that, you know, then that's great. But I definitely don't have the skin for that. And I just know because I do have products that are overly shimmery, like the Dior Backstage Face Compact has a blush. I don't know who uses that as a blush because on me it's just pure shimmer and you can see all of the texture, every single pore that I didn't even know I had. So that's just terrible. I can't use that. Now I'm going to go in with the blushes from the same palette. And these ones do have a bit more shimmer. So it's these two here. And I'm just going to combine them. And I'm going to use a densely packed brush. This is the Real Techniques 405 Instapop Cheek Blush. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the center color first and then that outer color, mix them and just pat them in. And you see, so you can kind of see a little bit there, that texture that I'm talking about, right? But this texture here is something I can live with. I mean, I have texture, it's there, it exists. But with that Dior one, it's just like texture. All right. So I'm just gonna do the same thing. As you can see, I pat in my blush. I don't really swipe. It's just something that works for me. It doesn't remove the product underneath. And let's face it, it packs the product into my pores to fill in those voids and make it seem like I don't have pores. Now what I like to do is I will take this giant Morphe E1 brush. It's really dense, very hard to clean. It doesn't dry off easily and it doesn't dry up quickly, so I definitely have backups because this is my all-time favorite brush to go in and pat my face together. And that's literally what I do, is I just go in over everything. After I've patted my face all together, make sure everything is nice and cohesive and blended, I'm going to go in with the two, with a combination of those three somehow, and just highlight with that now. And I am kind of hurrying up now because my boyfriend just came in here to remind me it's time to go. And with this one, I took the Morphe GH09 and I actually just pinched it because otherwise this is like too much brush for me. It kind of applies too much product. I just found something to pinch it with. All right, I am going to finish off the eyes. I'm going to go in with a small, I don't know if this is a pencil brush, that's what I assume to be a pencil brush. This is Morphe R41, and I'm going to go in with Bloom underneath. And with Dystopian, just to connect that to the top there. There we go. And now it is time for mascara, brows. Let's not forget the brows. I always forget the brows. And we will be done. All right. So for brows, I'm going to take a spoolie and just kind of brush them up. I'm using the NYX. I'm using the NYX Fill and Fluff eyebrow pencil gel. What is this? Eyebrow pencil. So I'm just going in and following the natural shape of my brow and just filling everything in so I don't have any patches or anything like that. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I leave kind of this underside untouched because when I spoolie through again, I will pick up some product and it will get deposited there. This pencil does come with a brush. It's one of those looks like a brush, like a real brush, right? So it's kind of to keep your brows more fluffy, I guess. But I just like to brush my brows through. So you see? Alright, now you're going to curl the lashes. So curl the lashes. Make sure that you pulse them through all the way to the tip. And now we are going to go in with mascara. What mascara are we going to go in with? We're going to go in with this Essence Super Curl because that's the only thing I can find at the moment. It's got one of these plasticky ones. Not my favorite, but it's fine. It does have a slight curl, so it's supposed to help your lashes curl. Just brush it through. Make sure you get your tips. And sometimes, if my lashes are not cooperating, I will apply the mascara over the top. Like, maybe I curled them too much, you know, and they're looking a little weird. Then, if I brush them from the top, I notice that they kind of fall back in line. So, go ahead and do that with the other one. Make sure you get the tips and the base. And our bottom lashes. Same thing, make sure you get the tips of your bottom lashes. I'm not sure what's going on here. I noticed I kind of have a gap in my lashes there. It's been really annoying, but there's not much that I can do about it. Alright, now some lipstick and we will be done. I did apply before I started everything, along with my skincare, the Laneige lip sleeping mask, and I just kind of apply a thinner layer than what I would at night and let it soak in as my skincare is soaking in. I'm doing my makeup, so I kind of just, you know, make sure it's not on there. I'm going to take ColourPop Z Lippie Stick. I don't think that this is the right color for this. It's okay. What I'll do, let's lighten it up a bit. I'm going to use Aquarius Lippie Stick. That didn't really help. This one is not my favorite formula, that Aquarius one. Let's try it, let's try it, let's try it. Not too bad. That's going to have to do. So if you want to recreate this lip, it was Ziggy Aquarius, wipe it off, use I Heart This. Alright, and here is the finished look. And put down my hair. Did just retouch it, so I am loving it. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.